Mr. Buchanan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Feinberg, I appreciate you being here today, and it's nice that this is the first committee that you're coming to. And I've also read and talked to colleagues that you're outstanding. You get on this quick, and there's a lot of people hurting. But I also want to just mention, when we talk about jobs, let's make sure we can focus big time on small businesses because they create the jobs, and the more we can help with them. But let me go right back to the one point. We had a briefing. I represent Sarasota Bradenton, which is about and this is going to be where I think things get complicated and there's a lot of confusion. We have 60, 70 miles of pristine beaches, additional water lines. We probably have, another 70, 80 miles. So we've got a lot of frontage. A big part of who we are, our business, is tourism. Maybe it's a third. What are we going to do about, they're saying that where the tar balls roll up on the beaches, let's say in Pensacola, the business is off 70, 80%. This is a briefing we had last week, our staff. In our area, they're claiming where you don't have tar balls, but you're on the Gulf because of the press, it's going to be as much as 50%. So, and then you're talking about Florida law and all these other things. What are we going to do for these motel, restaurant owners? We have all these barrier islands that come down there. They count on tourism in the summer. What are we going to do with them because of the perception? We might not get the tar balls for a year. But meantime, a lot of these people are going to go out of business. I get phone calls every day talking about, oh, God, we got a $20 billion fund. But we have to clearly define that. And before you answer that question, I do want to invite you down to our community. I'd love to host you there, and we have a little town hall because it's nice to go to Pensacola, and you need to do that, but also Tampa Bay, which we're part of that community. We need to talk about what's going on there and figure out what we're going to do, because I don't want to just keep telling people that, I don't know, I'm not sure, check with Florida law. We need answers to these questions because people aren't going to survive long enough to ever get a check. So let me maybe let you comment on that initially, just in terms of we're going to have to somehow define what we're going to do with these where there's not tar balls. There might be someday, but it's affecting their business 50%. What are we going to do?
First, I can answer the easy part of your question. If you invite me down to your district to have a few town hall meetings, I accept. It's the only way to do this job. I invite you. I would welcome that invitation. I will be there.
Well, you're invited, and I'll have you down as soon as I can get you. I want you to come down, but it'll be a very positive thing, and I'm sure people want to hear from you. So count on that, and if the governor wants to come, he can join us. But as soon as you got some time, we want you down.
Great.
Go ahead.
Now, you're posing, as the chairwoman posed, this is a very tough issue. I mean, there's not enough money in the world to pay every single small business that claims injury no matter where or when. I use that famous example of a restaurant in Boston that says, I can't get shrimp from Louisiana, and my menu suffers and my business is off. Well, no law is going to recognize that claim. On the other hand, you pose the problematic, not hypo, the real world problem of beachfront small businesses that even though the water is pristine, nevertheless, the public fear or concern or misinformation leads to a drop in customers, in guests. We've got to deal with this. Now, 9/11 dealt with it in an interesting way. 9/11 carved out a small geographic area where the 9/11 fund said if you claim that you have physical injury, respiratory problems because of the World Trade Center dust and debris, well, we'll recognize that claim, but only in the immediate vicinity of the World Trade Center. If you're uptown or over across the Hudson in Jersey City, we can't recognize that claim. Maybe, I'm just throwing out some ideas. Maybe, even though Florida law would never recognize that claim, maybe beachfront property or some sort of delineation of special situation or what have you, maybe because you're absolutely right, there's suffering.
Madam Chair was going to cut me off in 5 minutes. I want to get a couple of
questions.
It's one thing to say a restaurant that can't get shrimp in the Northeast. It's another thing where people are losing 50% of their business. And regardless of what the Florida law is, I hear what you're saying, but we've never had anything like this. We got 2.5 million gallons pouring out into the Gulf every day, 60,000 barrels. And with all this coverage worldwide, people come from around the world, different parts of the country, come to our beaches. They're not coming. So it's different. This is a completely different thing. So regardless of what the Florida law is, we have to clearly take a look at communities, I think Tampa Bay and South, what we're going to do about it, because we are on the Gulf. And again, it's one thing for the tar balls to roll on the beach. It's another thing if the business is down half. And we have to get to that answer fairly quickly, because people are making mortgage payments, I can tell you, and they're getting cancellations, and they're going to have to give the properties back to the bank. They need to know that we're either going to step up and do something or give some kind of SBA preferred loan or something, but I got to be able to tell them something. Just to say, we'll check on it, we'll let you know.
No.
We've got to define these issues early on.
And I have every intention of defining these issues in the next few weeks, not months. One thing BP has done, as I understand it, not on my watch, they have funded some major public relations effort to convince people that the water is pristine and you should come back in areas where it's perfectly okay, promoting commerce and promoting positive signs that tourism shouldn't suffer. But again, you're raising an absolutely legitimate, real question, which we've got to address promptly.
Time is expired.